And let me go on live on Facebook. Is it gonna work? Is
You
it
should.
gonna work? Laugh lines. Who can see this? Public. Let's hope.
All right. Are people going to be able to interact with like questions and stuff too?
That's a good question.
Well, we'll find
Setting
out.
up.
I
We
guess we'll
will.
find out.
We will. Okay. There we are. We're live. All right. And you what? Oh, yeah, this is great. It's live on my account
Okay. On Gina or on Laugh Lines?
on Gina.
Oh,
Yeah, this mic is not doing anything.
We don't want that. Should we just record, Debbie, and not do the
we could do
live
that.
thing?
We could just record. And then I think when you download, I can grab a recording that has the three of us that show up at the same time. So I'll double check that and then make sure I download that. That's fine.
Sounds good. All right,
Okay.
that's what we're doing. So we are recording. All right, good. We are here. Welcome everyone to Laugh Lines and Turbulence. I am so freaking excited to have Angie Verges with us today. I'm going to do the bio. I got it on my phone here, so I just got to enlarge it so I can see it. Okay, so Angie Verges is a graduate of Michigan State University and a mother of two adult sons. She encourages the use of humor for health and wellness and believes you can relieve tension one laugh at a time. Angela has shared humor through blogging, women's retreats, and stand-up comedy on stages in Michigan and Ohio. She began focusing on a career in comedy. A journey began after she turned 51. Whoop, whoop. She likes to share with women that life begins at 50. Her mission is to spread joy, one laugh at a time, and to encourage laughter as a means for health and wellness. And so her comedy is based on life situations, which are the best: parenting, aging, weight gain, all the stuff. And today we will talk with her about having humor in our lives, uncovering humor in challenging situations, and finding the joy through laughter. So, welcome, Angie. I am so thrilled to have you here. We met at the Irma Bombeck conference. You like spoke there. And when you talked about aging, and I had the podcast, Debbie and I were doing this podcast thing, I thought, I gotta find her.
Thanks for having me. Yes, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like your journey once you turned 50 and like how you like what were you doing before you like shifted into comedy?
Before I shifted into comedy, I was just this meek and mild person who wanted to be bold, but I didn't know how. So I prayed for boldness and I said, oh, this is how it comes out doing comedy. I never liked public speaking. I got nervous every time. Even the first time I did stand-up comedy, I was so nervous at the microphone that my hands were shaking. I refused to take the mic out of the stand. I just stood there and smiled and did my jokes. I figured, okay, the first time was like 1 minute or a minute and a half. I'm like, okay, I could do this for a minute. I could do this. And then just the laughter, it was so much fun. Yeah, but yeah, it all started right around 51. That's when I noticed my hair was starting to get thin. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And my friend told me, she's like, well, maybe it's the medication you're taking. I said, I'm not on any medication. So I turned all that into humor.
Love that so much. It's funny how stuff like that kind of sneaks up on you after 50 too. You start noticing the little things and stuff that no one kind of warned you about too.
Yeah. It's like you wake up one day and I was like, oh, is that a gray hair in my eyebrows? I didn't know that was a thing. I
You
guess
know
your
what,
hair gets
Angie?
gray.
Beard dye for men works very well on gray eyebrows, just by the way.
Good to know. Does it work for chin too? Or... You just pull those out. Oh,
Love it. So you wrote a book too
yes.
about
Yep.
aging. So tell us about
Yeah. That kind of came about after I was in this pageant for African American women 50 and older. And we had to do a talent. And then that's how I did the comedy. And then after that, I was like, oh, well, maybe this is a thing. Since we were talking about older women, all of us were over 50. And that's how I came up with the menopause, because I was just starting all these hot flashes. And I think that's my superpower, because I feel one coming on right now. My skin is clammy. But yeah, the book is called Menopause Ain't No Joke, blending life situations and making them humorous and just poking fun at it as a way to survive it. So it's
Yeah.
humorous essays sprinkled with faith and scriptures. Yeah.
Love that. Where can people find your book if they want to check
It's
it
on
out?
Amazon. It's on
Okay.
Amazon.com and Barnes and Noble as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Do you have questions, Debbie? I know you had questions.
I did have questions. I know. So Angie, I was looking at some of your videos, and the jokes, the stuff that you were talking about was so real life stuff, and what women our age can completely relate to. And I think one of the things that Gina and I, when we started considering this podcast, is that women having courage over the age of 50 to do what they want to do. And you definitely, like you said, you prayed for boldness and you got that through humor. How was and how did you get received by your family and your friends when you said, hey, I'm 50 years old and I'm over 50 and I want to do this with the rest of my life? Because sometimes there's a little bit of a stigma with being over the age of 50, and women need to just kind of be quiet, sit in the corner a little bit because they're done with raising their family. So how was
Yeah.
that received by your family and your friends when you said, hey, I'm going to do this? I know it may seem crazy to you, but this is my
Yeah.
calling.
I think it kind of caught people by surprise, because I was always, I laugh and joke around with family and friends, but to get up and stand up in front of people, it was a long time before I even said that I was a comedian. I was like, ooh, that may raise the bar too high, and expectation that I have to be funny all the time. So even going on stage, I have to just say, okay, I'm just going to go out here and have fun and pretend I'm talking to friends. But I think they received it okay. Yeah, they just knew it was my personality. Even people that I don't know come up to me and it's like, you have such a, unique personality that things just flow. It seems natural to you. I said, I don't think it always came natural. I don't know. Um, but they receive it okay. Even my sons, who are older now, they're 24 and 27, and they're
Yep.
like, Ma, when do we get here? You're almost 60? I was like, oh, I guess I am. Sometimes I actually forget, and they just go along with it, and we joke around just like we're at home and everything. So I was well received, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's great when you have the support. And the other thing I noticed too is I loved the fact that for you being, you had a lot of faith-based, you could tell that you have a lot of faith in your jokes, and it was faith-based. I loved one of your jokes was so funny when I was driving around and I was listening to one of your videos when you said, I wonder if Moses had GPS on his tablet.
Yeah. Yeah, because I get lost. I am directionally challenged. And that joke came about when I took a comedy class. I think
Yeah,
somebody in my class kind of helped pull that one out of me, because
yeah,
I'm just like, I don't know. Don't tell me to go south and then over to the west. Tell me, is it next to the Burger King?
right.
Is it next to that tree on the right-hand side of the street? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I loved the fact that you had that element into your jokes, and that, and you could tell you have a lot of faith too. So and then the way you were talking about, so my kids are 24 and 26, and the adult children phase. So, and it's kind of funny, like I say, my kids moved back home. They left and then they came back home. Okay.
Yes.
So my son now is so appreciative of being home that he literally walks around with a drill and will work for food, asking us if we need anything repaired.
I love that. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm like, this
That's what
kid's
I
literally
tell
walking
mine too.
around. Yeah. We'll even
Yeah,
work for
yeah.
food. Do you need anything hung up or fixed, Mom? I'm like, oh yeah. So now you appreciate it. But I loved how you were talking about your adult kids and the degrees, and he's got a bachelor's in BS and then a
Yes.
master's in mind games. It's so funny.
Uh, yep, that's my son. He's just the other day I heard him talk. He had to do, we're in got him into Toastmasters, public speaking, leadership, and he
Yeah.
gave his first speech and he was just talking. I'm like, oh, he is such a great BSer. Listen at him making that stuff up. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, you just made that whole 3 minutes up
That's
on the
hilarious. I love
spot.
that.
There's
Only
a
a mom
phrase,
would know, right?
Yeah.
fake it till you make it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they were like, "Oh, great first speech." I'm like, "Oh my goodness." We'll just go with it.
Love that. Oh my gosh. It's so much fun. Um, so you mentioned a book. So we always ask, just so the viewers know, we always ask our guests a book that was inspiring to them or brought some wisdom to them or whatever. And Angie, you said successful women think differently. 9 habits to make you happier, healthier, and more resilient by Valerie Burton. What about that book resonated with you?
I read that book some years ago, and it was really inspirational. It's some of the things that we take for granted sometimes, like self-care, because, as parents, we're always looking out for our kids, even when they're adult kids. Okay, they're back home. So what time are you actually coming home? You know,
Right.
and she just talks about taking time for yourself, not feeling guilty when you take time for yourself. People invite you somewhere, you feel like you got to give an excuse, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything this weekend. It's even to the point when I get a day off, I don't tell anybody. They're like, oh, what are you doing? No, I think I'm going to be at home with my
I
feet
love
up.
that. I love that. That you're taking care of yourself. You have to take care of
Yes,
yourself. I love that.
Yeah,
it makes a
absolutely.
difference.
Yeah.
Sure does.
Did you read that, Len, before you went into your comedy stuff, or did you read that after?
That was way before. Yeah, because
Wow.
I've been into comedy, I think about 6 years now, but
Okay.
I read that long ago. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, we plan to put up a list of books for folks and like list those out for people. So if they want to pick those up as well, they can. So,
Yes.
um, one question that Debbie and I usually will ask folks, did you find, so you got the hot flashes, you got the directional stuff, although that might not be an aging thing. I don't know. I've always been directionally
Me
challenged.
too. Me too.
So, but you got all this stuff going on. Did you find that like this stuff came as a surprise to you? Like, or did you have like family, like mother or a important female figure in your life who talked to you about menopause and like what the heck you're gonna be going through?
No, no, it was all new. I had no idea. I just knew I was
Mhm.
hot, that I was cold, and all this stuff. And not until I got into menopause did I learn that there was a perimenopause. And then when I
Mhm.
went back and thought about it, I was like, oh, that's why this was happening. I was in
Right.
perimenopause and didn't know it. I started asking my mom more questions as I started going through it, and like asking about my grandmother and things that she went through. And I remember when I was younger, hearing my grandmother say something about somebody going through the change. They called it the change. I was like, oh, they meant menopause.
Yeah.
So it wasn't talked about as much. And that's what I find people around me now when I go and do shows, I open up with the menopause bit. And a lot of people come over and tell me all of their stories of things they're going through. And yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I
That
think
that's
it's yeah, it's such a beautiful thing that
yeah.
like that this stuff is actually being talked about now.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, we follow, and Gina and I follow a few OB-GYNs that are online, and it seems right now that there's a menopause revolution going on right now, and speaking up more about menopause. And it's funny, Gina and I were going to have a topic on our show about that as well, is how we didn't know. Nobody really told us. My mother's from Eastern Europe, so I don't know if it was cultural that they just didn't talk about, you know, the changes that your body's going to go through when you go into menopause, or it was a thing like, well, this is what's going to happen and you're going to have to suck it up, and
Yeah.
or whatever the reason may be. But it's a definite real change going on in your body and in your life that I see this I don't want to say maybe Generation X right now. And, you know, Angie, I know you're probably part of that generation too, is that we're like, hey, let's talk about these changes that we're going through. And I love the fact that we can joke around about it as well. It doesn't have to be so serious, you know, or such a taboo topic to talk about.
Right.
So
Mhm.
bringing this phase in our life, which is such a wonderful transition. Angie, you were just talking about, like, I mean, this is like the beginning of your life in a sense. So this beautiful transition we're going through, and not being ashamed about it, and talking about it, and, you know, making some jokes about it as well while we're at it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that it definitely helps to talk about it and get it out there. And it makes other people feel comfortable sharing too, when they know it's okay. You know, we don't have
Yeah,
to talk about this in secret or anything like that. So
correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I find the, you know, the validation, you know, that's what I found with it when I hear something on TV about, you know, a celebrity who was going through these
yeah,
symptoms and went to a doctor and wasn't like, was kind of
right.
shoved out the door, you know, don't stop being a baby or whatever, not being heard. And then all of a sudden hitting the right doctor, right? And then going, wow, that's what this is, that's happening to me. And I think, you know, hearing that in my living room validated like hugely the symptoms I'm having and not being able to explain and like
Correct.
feel like I'm going
Yeah.
crazy, you know?
Yeah,
So,
the brain fog and all of
Yeah,
that that
oh
comes
my
with it.
gosh.
Like, what did I come in here for? My glasses? Oh, they're on my face.
that's right.
Okay.
Or you turned a flashlight on your phone looking for your phone.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
And I'm in the bedroom looking for my phone with the flashlight on my phone. I'm like, I'm holding my phone for the.
Yeah,
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's a real thing. You
it
know, and
is.
you're not nuts. That's another thing. You're, like you said, menopause ain't no joke. It is no joke, and you're not crazy either. So
Right, right. Oops.
I love the humor that the spin that you put on some of the things that we deal with, right? I think that, you know, I think it helps to lighten it. It kind of lifts that taboo
Mhm.
overshadow that people have
Mhm.
always had, you know, the change. You probably
Yeah.
always wondered, what does that mean? The change.
I wonder if there's several words, but, you know, now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, Angie, the change, like I've heard that term too. I should ask my mom if she remembers maybe the terms that they used like back in the day. Like,
Right.
what would they
Yeah.
call that? You know, what do they call that transition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's funny too to hear, you know, my sons talk about it because one day the book was out and my son told one of his friends, yeah, my mom wrote a book and they asked what the name of it was. And when they told them menopause, they're looking like, what is that? And they're like, it's when your mother freezes you out with the air on. Or something like that.
That is
Yeah.
so funny. Yeah, and you find anything to use as a fan. Wait,
Yes. Yep.
oh, I was
Yeah.
on the air, I was on the air, I was working, I'm a flight attendant, and I was on the airplane, and I'm standing there waving like this. I was so hot, it's so hot. And then I had a passenger literally from their bag pull out a fan, one of those electric little handheld fans.
Yeah.
She's like, here, you can have this. It was
She
like
sympathized with
yeah. She had a couple of them in her bag. She's like, I'm
it.
like, oh my God, thank you. She goes, no, you can keep it. I understand completely. So she literally passed the torch of fanning to me, you know,
It's a sisterhood.
it's a sisterhood.
Absolutely. Hey, that would be good merch to have for laugh
Yeah.
lines and
Yeah.
Fans with our logo on it.
Oh, that's
Uh-huh.
a great idea. Oh, let me write that down.
Yeah.
Or I'll
Yeah, but
forget.
before you
You'll
forget,
forget.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right before.
absolutely. Hey,
Oh,
Angie,
God.
I am wondering, um, is there an accomplishment that you are particularly proud of after like after 50? Is there
Hmm.
anything? I know comedy, I'm proud of you for that, like taking a step out and doing that.
Does surviving parenthood count?
It does.
Right.
My mustache is not as thick as my son's. But I'm excited that I finally published a book.
Hmm.
I kept saying I wanted to do it, and it seemed like each decade went by. I was like, okay, by by 35, by 40, by 45, 50, and it kept going up. So
Mhm.
I was excited when I finally did that. And
Yeah.
I just enjoy sharing the joy of laughter. It
Yeah.
feels good when you hear other people laugh too, just to, take their mind away from their stressors for just a minute.
Yes.
So,
Angie, when you said that your accomplishment of finally publishing your book, and the decades have went by, the ideas that you had for a book previously, they obviously may have changed throughout the years and the decades. And it seems like once you reach this phase in your life, as you're like, oh, I'm an expert on this.
yep.
This is this is how I'm going to speak to the world by talking about menopause and talking about, parenthood and all this.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's the thing I was wanted to ask, is that I'm sure they have changed throughout the years, your
It
subjects of what you want to.
has. That is a good point. That's so true because when I started out, I wanted to be a children's book author. I still have a couple books that I have drafts of that I haven't finished yet. One of my favorite titles is Vincent Van Gogh. He's a goat who wants to be an artist.
Oh, I
But
love it.
Love that.
I just got the title, but I haven't gotten back to it. So I kind of got away from that. I started another picture book when my son was in second grade. I still want to go back to that eventually, but I kind of shifted. I started working with the writing coach too, and she helped me to focus. She said, well, okay, if you like the humor, let's go with the humor and other things can come under that umbrella. So since I started focusing on the comedy, when I write my essays for publication or what have you, I try to make them related to humor. And even
Yeah.
when I go back to my picture book, I want to work on something humorous. So I
Yeah.
use that humor as the umbrella, but the writing has shifted since I've gotten older.
Yeah.
I love that point of the humor, because humor is completely so relatable across so many different, languages and cultures and ages. The humor is like pretty much the international language. I mean, even
Right.
just looking at funny pictures, you don't even have to understand,
Mhm.
it just comes across. So completely relatable.
And just to be able to heal through humor. I mean, I'm a humor
Yes.
author as well, and um, people would ask me, what is your goal with the book? Like, are you
Mhm.
looking to get a lot of money out of this? And it's like, well, I've learned that probably not.
Right.
But my main goal is like if I could give a smile to one person, I've achieved so much and I've achieved my goal. If I can
Yeah.
make one person happy. And there's just so much beauty in that. We have our
Yeah.
world's so heavy right now.
Yeah.
And I think if we can bring that joy to others, that's such a gift.
Yeah, that's so true, Gina. And that brings up a point. I like what you said about, we're not making millions off of these books. We're bringing joy. I made a whopping, I had some money deposited from the content distributors or whatever and sold the book. I was like, oh, $10. Yay. I must have sold two books after they're cut. So I mean, that was nice, but the thing is just, sharing the hope and the inspiration and the humor. That's the
Yeah.
best part.
And that's
Yeah.
so contagious too. When you share
Yeah.
something like that, when you're good to people, you make people smile or you make someone feel good, That's contagious. And they make
Yeah.
they make their day and they make someone else feel good. So
Yeah.
you're playing your part in humanity too that way.
And
Yeah.
you know, a gentleman, I was in line at the grocery store one day and I didn't know whether to laugh or not because he told me, he said, "You have such a beautiful smile." And then he said, "I wish I had that many teeth." I'm like, okay, how do I respond? But then after he laughed, I was like, okay, it's okay to laugh.
Yeah, that's
So,
great.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Oh gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that yeah, what you're doing is definitely you're sharing a gift that was in you this whole time until you decided to go out and pursue that comedy. How did you I think we all deal with that imposter syndrome, that voice saying, I when you said earlier, well, I didn't call myself a comedian right away because that was kind of reaching a little too far. How is it that you overcame that? Or is that something you still toy with from time to time? What
yeah,
would your advice
from
be to
time to
others on
time,
that?
so a lot of self-talk. You know, how you have your mantras and you look in the mirror, I am somebody.
That's
I am
right.
successful, strong. You know, it was a
Yep.
lot of that. And then just taking, I'd still take comedy classes. I'm always learning. I guess
Yeah.
I'm that person that's going to be forever a student because I'll
Mhm.
take a class here and there, a workshop, whether it's a writing workshop or, going to a writing conference. But lately I've been taking comedy classes and getting in competitions, and that kind of builds up your self-esteem as
Mhm.
well. And then it
Yeah.
was just over the years. It didn't come right away. I mean, when you think about it, I'm into year 6 or 7 and doing comedy, and each time I go on the stage, I still, catch my breath, say a prayer like, Lord, let these people laugh. Let me
Oh,
say something that's going to be funny to them, even
Yeah.
if it's just that one strong laugh, they had a
yeah,
good time. So
that's awesome.
it's always still encouraging, hearing friends encourage me and then encouraging myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all deal with it. I saw an interview a number of years ago, and I was just floored by this interview, but it was with Barbara Streisand. And
Oh,
I don't know if it was with Barbara Walters, I don't know who was interviewing her,
wow.
but she had said how nervous she gets when she goes out on the stage to sing. And I thought, you're like one of the greatest like people hold you up on this like amazing pedestal because you've been in this industry for so long. And just to hear that she struggles with that and hear other folks who have reached those heights, right? That they still
Mhm.
struggle with, oh, is it going to be good enough? Is my voice going to crack? Am I going to trip on the cord?
Right.
you know, type of thing. So, yeah, I think that's very natural and just to keep working to overcome it. And I think what you do is beautiful, like continuing to take classes and
Mhm.
just to constantly like try to better yourself in those ways. So,
Yeah.
Debbie, you take classes all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, I try to. I take online classes here and there,
Yeah.
it's anything that strikes my interest for the moment, then I'll be like, well, let me take this class. But yeah, just there it's never a waste when you do. I
Right.
took I took a meditate certified to teach meditation class, and I noticed that that made a huge difference in my life. Just meditate, and I think it's something when you find something that you're interested in, and you're so passionate to share that with everybody else. So
Yeah.
you take a class in it, and you want to share that skill with someone else. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's great. It's great. It's all you're always learning. I feel you never stop evolving as a person, as a being. You never stop evolving.
I like that you said that, Debbie, because you try new things until you find you may start a new hobby or something like that. And
Yeah.
meditation is one of those I consistently fail at. I'll, I'll set a 10-minute meditation. I think I might meditate 5 minutes because then I'm writing my mantra or I get a joke idea. That's when I get my jokes during meditation
Well, see,
or
then it
yoga.
served a purpose.
Yeah. At least I'm listening to it. It's soaking in,
Yeah.
but I'm writing.
Yeah, yeah. But
That's
even, trust me, even taking a class in it, I have my moments. I definitely have a short attention span. And, it took me many techniques to finally learn. But I still have my moments, I'm like sitting there trying to meditate. I hear the dog or I hear someone
Yeah.
talking, and it's also my thing, that my thing I have is just to be nosy. I'm like, who's talking over there? What are the kids saying? What's my husband doing? So
Mhm.
I probably do better when I'm by myself.
Yeah.
there's a great scene in Eat, Pray, Love. Have
Mhm.
you both seen that movie
Yeah,
with Julia
it was a
Roberts?
while ago.
When she's in the
Yeah.
meditation room and she's
Oh,
trying to focus and she's thinking of everything else. And it was a really hot room in India. And so, and she's like,
yeah.
it's so hot in here. Oh gosh, so funny. Angie, if you could give any advice to all the younger women out there, because we are encouraging younger women to listen to our podcast, tune in, because you're going to be here one day. You're going to be
Right.
in our shoes, and we want to like try to pave the way and make it a little easier on you.
Mhm.
what what advice would you give to them, or what advice would you give to your younger self?
Hmm. Uh, I think I would encourage them to enjoy every step of the way. Just, kind of live in the moment. Don't worry about what happened yesterday, what's coming next week. Just kind of enjoy the moment and
Mhm.
go with it, Be okay with talking about what you're going through. That may help you ease through it a little bit better and have a better understanding. I think it's good if you kind of have an idea of what's coming at you, that you may experience hot flashes or brain fog and extra hair and loss of hair, dryness, all of this stuff. It's I think if I was equipped and knew that it might come, then I could be better prepared and ready to accept it. But like I'm using the humor and everything, I would encourage them to find something that they enjoy doing that kind of eases the stress and everything. Don't be uptight about what's to come.
Yeah,
That's
that's
wonderful. I love that.
great advice. Yeah. Silence.
I know. Radio silence.
We're all like, huh? Let's ponder on that, shall we?
Oh.
What I found, even before I had the first hot flash, I,
Mhm.
I thought I was going to die. Like, and I was just laying there watching TV, and all of a sudden it hit me so hard. And I'm like, holy cow, what was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think before that even started, I was having dizzy spells. I was having all of these, when you mentioned the perimenopause, looking at it now, knowing what I know now,
Mhm.
all of that makes sense. But at the time, I'm
Mhm.
like, what is going on? Like, do I have some type of brain thing going on?
Mhm.
Like, um, you know, the brain fog and, the dizzy spells and things like that. So it's different for everybody, is what
It
I'm
is.
hearing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For me is I think it was still wanting to feel like as I was creeping up to 50 and having those menopausal symptoms, was still wanting to be desirable and still wanting to be sexy and getting in this weird funk of at 50, can I still do that? Should I still do that? Is it weird? Is it weird to still want to be, feminine and desired and
Yeah.
interested in that kind of stuff? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
at 50, I wasn't ready to hang that up quite yet. So that's another thing I feel like, it was such a weird phase going into like this old, being older, but still wanting to feel like a woman. Do you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So that was important and a weird transition for me too.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think it was It was different for me too. I'm surprised. I think my wardrobe changed a little bit too. I started wearing more colors and like the red glasses. I just got those a couple years ago. And I was like, I'm ready to try something different. And I hadn't really thought about that before. You know, I
Mhm.
wear sundresses more. Now I like doing that in the summer when it's hot because I can layer up, layer down, add a jacket. So all of that kind of changed from what it used to be before 50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
See, I find with dressing, I have such a hard time dressing myself now. Like in the 80s, I was younger, I'm like, oh, these things go together really great. Now I'm like, I have no clue how to dress myself.
Mhm.
I went into a little boutique here in Superior. I live in Superior, Wisconsin. And I told them I need your help. I have a photo shoot and I have no idea how to dress myself.
You
Help
know,
me.
it's kind of funny because there is a weird like you have outfits for the younger. You got the junior section and you got the Mrs. section. So
Yeah,
you need this, halfway between. You need this, this 50 pizzazz
They
section.
do. They need
yeah.
that because I still love the junior section at
I
Kohl's. Like the
Their stuff
jeans.
is cool.
it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, when
I
you hit the Gloria Vanderbilt section, I mean, and then keep going west
yeah.
in that store, you're in trouble.
The junior section is very cute. I definitely love going into junior section. The only problem for me is the junior section is that my body has shifted. So the way
Yeah,
things fit are like, oh my God,
yeah,
it used to fit around my waist like
yeah.
this, but now
I can't
You
fit
look at it.
anything in there, but my friend does. She finds stuff in there all the time. Like, how do you know the size? She's
yeah.
coming with these 15s or 13s. Or I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to get. And if she can't fit it though, she'll give it to me. So I inherit some things.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you don't have to put up with the crowds.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Oh gosh.
Andy, your shows, like
Yeah.
when do you where are the places that you perform and do you usually do like a particular day of the week or let us know what your shows coming up are and where?
Okay, well tonight I am in Battle Creek, Michigan. It's at a Mexican restaurant, I guess. I haven't been there before, and they're doing
Oh,
comedy there tonight. And then next week I have a couple shows I'm doing for a sorority. They
oh,
have like their roundup kind of thing, and they're going to have me do 20 minutes of comedy. And last week I did another one, and Labor Day someone asked me to do their family reunion, just about 15 minutes of comedy. So I've been
nice.
going just kind of when people ask me, when I meet people and tell them I do comedy, I just hand them my card. If you have an
Yeah.
event coming up, just let me know. And
Love
then
it.
I'm starting a class in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Cleveland Funny Bone. It used to be the Cleveland Improv. So after our 4-week class, then we get to perform on that stage. So that's
Nice.
always fun. So I'll get to perform at an actual comedy club, and done some
Uh-huh.
different comedy clubs where they've had comedy showcases like Detroit House of Comedy, places like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So the word's getting out there and people are starting to know who you are and it's starting to,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that. That's amazing. That's
Love
great.
it. Love
Thanks.
it.
Mhm.
Where can people find you, Angie? Where if people want to find you or book you for something or check out your videos, where would be the best place that they can do that?
I'm on Instagram a lot. My
Okay.
Instagram handle is Writer Mama, WRITERMAMA
Okay.
223. So I'm on there. I'm also on Facebook at Angela.Verges. And then I'm on TikTok. I usually try to do a TikTok video maybe once a week or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm not on there all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, they can follow. And I have a YouTube channel as well, where sometimes I'll do what I call humor happy hour. I'll do
Ah,
a
Those I
video
love.
on
I
Those
did
I
Monday.
see that,
And
Angie. I did find your YouTube and saw your
did you?
humor happy hour.
love
Yeah.
them. Love
Yeah.
them.
Again, that's everyday stuff too. Just when people say stuff
Uh,
to me, Like that lady at work said something to me. I'm like, you know what? This is going to be a YouTube video.
Yeah,
And I created one and showed it to her after.
it's
She
great.
was tickled.
That's
Isn't it,
fantastic.
isn't it funny how that's, I mean, doing TikTok is work, like not work, but it's
Yeah,
fun work, but there's a lot that goes into making these videos. And
yeah. And then my son tells me, Ma, don't post it that late. Your crowd is not on there at that time. I'm like,
Wow.
I'll show you. I
But
posted
you
at
know what?
10:05.
If
Oh,
you have enough hashtags, Angie, they will find you. It's
Somebody
yeah,
will.
all
that's
about those
it.
hashtags.
Yeah,
That's hilarious. I know. I love how our kids like give us direction.
yeah. He was chastising me. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yes.
no, that's not okay.
It's funny, Angie, when you're talking about your kids and then they're giving you advice or they're chastising you. I know sometimes my daughter will say something to me. I'll be like, you do realize I've been on this planet 30 more years than you have.
Right, just
This
a
is not
few.
new. It's like they're trying to teach you something new that I go, yes, I've been here on the
Yeah.
planet 30 more years than you have. So
Uh-huh.
kind of am aware
Exactly.
of what's going on.
Exactly.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. Well, or you'll try to teach them something and
Yeah.
then they're not hearing it. And then they hear it from somebody else and they come back and say, I heard this great thing. And you're just like, I
Like it's
just
brand
told you
new.
that, but
Right.
okay.
It's always different when it comes from someone else, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love
So,
it. Well, Angie, we plan on we'll put Angie's links into the message part of whatever you call that on the links that we post, folks. So look for her, check out her videos. They are hilarious. My family always knows when I'm dinking around on my phone and say, stop, you gotta look at this. That is probably one of Angie's happy hour things because
Yeah.
it's so funny. But check her out, check out her book. Our big thing is women raising women up and
yeah.
supporting other women. And please do check her out and support her goal of continuing on her journey of making people laugh. And I just love your story, Angie.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Debbie and Gina, for having me on your show. This has been so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
Angie, love it. So happy to meet you. Gina has said so many good things about you when she said, I've got Angie Verges.
The
She's gonna
person.
come on. She's so excited. I couldn't wait to meet you. And I'm so
Awesome.
grateful. So yeah, so grateful that you made it on. Thank you so, so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And please feel free to share the links to Angie with your crowd, or put on your website, whatever you want to do with this. So we want to support you in any way we can, okay?
Great. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, thanks. You have a
Okay.
great night.
Okay. You
All right.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.